live in Newark, New Jersey, and the rule of Newark, New Jersey, or any surrounding areas is every number street is ghetto.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Demmmmmmmi. So, I'm back with another video. I'm going to be putting y'all on game on what to ask y'all landlord before you guys move in. This is very important. Right now, we going through a little pandemic, that's the word. We going through a little panty, y'all. For some reason, the price is up. The price is up for apartments, for rental properties. Rent is out of control right now. Like, I'm so thankful that I'm not paying these astronomical prices. But just because you find that perfect apartment and you're able to pay, doesn't mean you necessarily want to live there. Just as much as you want that apartment, you want to have a good landlord too. You want to have a good experience in this apartment because stuff could start going left real quick. You're going to be mad you're living there, especially if your lease is a year long. So today, I'm going to be telling y'all everything y'all need to ask y'all landlord before signing that lease, because you do not want to be stuck in a contract and then have to suffer the consequences because you didn't ask him what I told you to go ask him. Ask him, ask her. Make sure you know what you're getting into before you sign this lease, okay? I have my laptop here. I have a whole list full of questions, so let's get right into it, y'all. What kind of homegirl would I be if I didn't tell y'all what y'all need to know? Like, when I moved into my apartment, I moved here in 2016. It is now 2021. I've been here for some time now, and I know what I'm talking about. I know what y'all should ask because I wished someone would have told me to ask these questions to my landlord, because if I would have asked some of these questions, I probably would not be living here because this place is ghetto and I don't want y'all living in no ghetto spaces either, okay? Let me put y'all on. So the very first question you want to ask your landlord is, how long is your lease? Because sometimes your lease could be month to month, it could be for 6 months, or it can be for an entire year. So you want to know how long that lease is going to be. Another important question you want to know how much your rent is going to be. Like, I mean, how much is the rent? If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Like, if you know you got a budget of $800 and the rent is $1,000, sis, you can't afford it. So now that you know how much your rent is, make sure you know how to pay your rent. Like, ask them, how am I going to pay this rent? Are you going to take cash? Are you going to take a money order? Are you going to take a check? Is it going to be online? If it's cash, make sure you have receipts. If it's a money order, make sure you keep those receipts, because landlords be trying to do some funny business, all right? Landlords be trying to do some funny business, and you want to make sure you have all your receipts in order. Take a screenshot, do whatever you got to do, confirm that payment, because when the audit happens, you're going to have all your stuff in line. Especially, I find it most annoying when landlords only take cash and money order, because you have to take that extra step to go to the bank, because who the heck carries around enough cash to cover rent? Y'all know who I am, El Cheapo. I don't carry large amounts of cash. I rarely carry cash ever. Make sure you know how to pay that rent, because you don't want to be chasing down your landlord, trying to get from the money order, trying to get from the cash, trying to get from this or that. Make sure you know where to put it, where to send it, all of that beforehand. Then you want to know, is there a grace period to paying your rent? Now, most apartments or properties, if you're moving into a townhouse, they have a grace period. So rent is normally due on the 1st, and you most likely can pay up till the 5th. After the 5th, sometimes a late fee applies. Sometimes it doesn't, but you just want to know what it is. You want to know what your grace period is, and you want to know what's going to be the fees. Also, ask them how much your security deposit is going to be. I've heard magical fairy tale stories about some people saying that they didn't even have to pay a security deposit. Now, normally your security deposit is your first and last month's rent, or first month and a half, something like that. So just ask them, like, what is your security deposit going to be? How much is it going to be? Can the security deposit ever be applied to your rent? Like, where is it kept? Like, is it going to be in the bank collecting interest? Is it refundable? What makes it not refundable? You want to know all of that, because you're going to be giving them a large sum of money. So you want to know where your money is going and how you could get that money back if you need to. Next, you want to know how much your rent increases over time. Now, not everywhere the rent increases over time. Some apartments are rent controlled. Some apartments are low income housing, so it doesn't increase that much. Where I live, my rent has only increased like $10 from the time I started living here. But you definitely want to know how much that rent is going to increase. Because let's say for the first year you're there, you're paying $1,000. Now, next year when it's time to renew your lease, if your lease is for a year, they're talking about some $1,100. $1,100? Why am I giving y'all an extra $100? I didn't know I was going to have to do all that. Let me know now before I sign anything. Now that you know that, this is like really important. You want to know if the landlord lives there. You want to know how quickly can he get to you if there's an emergency. Say, for example, you lock yourself out the apartment. How quickly is the landlord going to be able to open the door for you? I have locked myself out of my apartment multiple times on numerous occasions. Luckily, I have friends that I give them a spare key that live near me so that they can always open the door for me. But you definitely want to know if that landlord is going to be on the premise, because sometimes you might need him. So you don't need to be waiting for him. If he lives in another state, in another city, you need to know where he at, and you need to be able to contact him whenever, within reason, of course. Speaking of your landlord, make sure you ask him, how do things get fixed? Like, do you have to put in a work order? Do you call him and let him know? Do you text him? How are things getting fixed? If your toilet is overflowing, how are you going to get it fixed? If your shower is clogged, how are you going to get it fixed? How fast is it going to get fixed? Like, what's the turnaround time for things to get fixed? Because you don't want to end up with a slumlord, okay? If you don't know, a slumlord is a person who you're supposed to be able to count on. But guess what? You cannot count on him for nothing. I had a slumlord. I kind of have a slumlord now because my building where I live now, it's been renovated and bought by different people. So now the old landlord that I had before, he's no longer an issue. But these people seem to be slumlords too. I don't know. But anyways, I was waiting for my freaking bathroom to get fixed for months, for years. It took them like 2 years to fix my freaking bathtub. So you definitely want to know how fast things get fixed, and you definitely want to know where your landlord is. You also want to know if this property has a contract with an extermination company. Rodents, roaches, ants, mice, all of that. You want to know if they're exterminating your property. You want to know how often they're going to be exterminating, if they're exterminating. Sometimes they only exterminate once a month. You miss them once a month, and then you got to wait a whole month for them to come back. And if they do exterminate, sometimes they only do one room. Sometimes they do 2 rooms. So if you have roaches in your living room, they might only do the bathroom. They might only do the kitchen. So you need to know these things, because if you see a whole lot of roaches, you're going to be mad. Especially if the apartment next door to you gets exterminated and you did it. All those rats, all those rodents, all of those roaches come into your apartment, and you got to wait a whole month for the exterminator to come to your apartment. So you definitely want to know about these things. Another important thing you need to ask your landlord is, what appliances come with this apartment? Like, are you going to get a fridge? Are you going to get a microwave? Are you going to get a stove? Are you going to get... Just ask them what you're going to get, because sometimes they don't give you nothing. They don't give you no stove, no refrigerator, nothing. So you just move into a space and you can't even cook for yourself. When I moved into my apartment, I only had a stove. So I had to go out and get a fridge. I bought a used fridge, of course, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I had no money for a brand new fridge. So I bought a used fridge. Not the best. I do want a new fridge, but you need to know what appliances that you're going to be responsible for prior to moving into your apartment so you can budget your money correctly. You also want to know when garbage days are. You want to know what days you have to take your garbage out, because you don't want garbage piling up in your house, piling up in the hallway or something like that. You want to be able to get all your garbage out weekly. You want to know when cardboard day is, when recyclables are, cans, plastic, all of that. You want to be responsible for the environment, protect the earth. You want to know when that is, okay? You also want to know about your windows. Do your windows have locks on them? Do your windows have screens on them? Especially if you live on a first floor apartment, you want to make sure that your windows lock. They have working locks too, because just because they have locks don't mean those locks work, especially if you live in the ghetto. You don't want anyone breaking into your apartment, so make sure those windows lock and test them for yourself as well. You also want to make sure they have screens on them, because if you want to open your window, let a little fresh air in, here go Buzzy the Bee flying in your apartment. Here go a bunch of flies flying in your apartment. I mean, you can very well buy some, screens from a dollar store or whatever, but you just want to know for your own sake. Especially if you have children, You need to know if your windows lock, if they can put bars on the windows, or if they can be removed if you don't have children. I just want to go back to the security deposit thing. Not only do you want to know about your security deposit, but you also want to know if there's any non-refundable fees that you should be aware of. These people will always try to take your money. Like, they always after your money. Like, once you move into an apartment by yourself, or once you move with your roommate or something, you will notice that everybody is after your money. Like, whether it's a bill, let's not talk about bills. Everybody wants your money when it comes to bills. But you want to make sure you know if there's any non-refundable fees associated with your lease. Like, if you decide to hang a picture up on the wall and you put a nail in the wall, are you going to have to pay a fee for that? If you have an air conditioner, do you have to pay a fee for that? Speaking of the walls and the stuff and whatnot, you need to know what's the decorating policy. Can you paint the walls? Like I said, can you add nails to the walls? Some apartments, they're just like, okay, you can do it, but make sure you change it back before you leave. Okay, you can put a hole in the wall, but make sure you fix the wall before you leave. Or sometimes they'll just take a portion of your security deposit and apply that to change the wall back or whatever. But you need to be made aware of this. If you paint all the walls in your house and then when it's time for you to move out, they're gonna be like, hold up, we not finna give you back this money because we gotta paint your whole apartment because you decided to paint it lime green. Please don't paint your apartment lime green. Not because it's extra money, but because it's ugly. Anyways, y'all know I have a cat. If I don't know, I have an adorable little cat princess. She's so adorable. Speaking of her, you need to know if there's gonna be any pet fees associated. Some apartments or properties have a strict no pet policy. They don't want no dogs, no cats, no ferrets, none of that. But some do allow you to have a pet, and sometimes there's a pet fee. Now, sometimes it's just a flat fee for your entire lease, and sometimes they will really charge you month to month for this animal. Like, if your lease is for 12 months, they will charge you a fee every month for your lease for the cat. And it'd be like $25. Where is Princess gonna get $25 from? She don't have a job. Why is you charging Princess for rent? Please tell me, where's she gonna get a job from? Also, you want to know if there's going to be any construction or updates going on with your property. Because if you can't sleep at night, or if you're a light sleeper, you just need to know if there's going to be any unexpected interruptions to your water, your electricity, your sleeping schedule because of loud noise. Like, sometimes they'll just start all this construction and you don't know what's going on. Like, one time I got home from work and they're digging a hole in the ground. So I have to walk all the way around just to get to the front of the door because they're digging a hole in the ground. Like, you want to be made aware of anything that's going on that will affect your property or your livelihood. You're living here, so don't be afraid to ask these kind of questions. Also, speaking about your livelihood, you want to make sure you know where your fuse box is. I blow fuses all the time. Like, I actually just blew a fuse this morning. So my fuse box is not in my apartment. Like I said, I live in a building. My fuse box is downstairs in the basement. Now, there's a door to get into the basement that is sometimes locked. I don't know who has the key. My landlord is not on the premise. So luckily, the door was open today. But had it not been, I don't know how I would have been able to get my lights back on, because I had my air fryer going, I had my microwave going, I had my iron going, I had my air conditioner going. I blew a fuse. So if that door was not open in the basement, I would have to call my landlord and hope that he answers to be able to turn my lights back on. So that's why you absolutely need to know where your landlord is, where your fuse box is. You need all this information, okay? I'm not joking. I think I covered a lot of important questions, but if I think of some more, I'll definitely make a part 2 to this video if y'all need a part 2. If I need a part 2 about, managing, living on your own, I could definitely help you with that. Because like I said, I've been here since 2016, all by myself. I've been not getting evicted, so I know what I'm doing. So now I just want to tell you guys some things that you should definitely pay attention to in your apartment, about the area, yada, yada, yada. You want to pay attention if you live on a street that is one way or two way, especially if you drive, because this will tell you how parking is, especially during street cleaning days. So you have to see how's the parking in this area, because if you work late or work mornings or something like that, you don't want to be walking 5 minutes to get to your car, 5 minutes to get to your apartment, especially at nighttime if you're a woman or if you're a man too. Like, you want to make sure you know the parking situation if your property does not have a parking lot dedicated just for your building. Also, if your building does have a parking lot, make sure you ask them how much is the fee, because they definitely charge you a fee. They charge you a fee for everything, so make sure you know what you're gonna be paying for. And I don't know if I said this already, but I'm gonna just say it again. Make sure you know about the utilities, because if you live in a building, normally heat and hot water are included. But if you live in a house, sometimes you have to pay for that on your own. So you have to pay for internet, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you know what utilities you have to pay and how to pay them. You also need to ask about if this area tends to flood. Now, I live in Jersey. It doesn't flood that often. We just had a bad storm and it flooded so bad. Like, Jersey was underwater. We was literally swimming with the fishes. Luckily, my area, my street did not flood. My car was good. Alhamdulillah for that. Thank God. Praise God. Yada, yada, yada. I was good. But some other areas, they were underwater. They were in Bikini Bottom. They were flooded. So you want to ask your landlord if this area floods frequently. I mean, some areas just flood if it rains, but some areas only flood if there's heavy rain. So you just want to be conscious about if this area is a flood zone, if this area is an area that's prone to flooding. Also, I didn't look at this when I moved to my apartment because I was just so excited to find my own apartment. But you want to be mindful of how many outlets there is in each room. Like, you don't think it's a big idea until you realize there's only one outlet in your whole entire room. And now you gotta decorate your room according to where the outlet is, or have extension cords running all through your room. Like me, I only have one outlet in my entire room. I have like 3 extension cords. You know what? Let's not get into that. But anyway, make sure you know how many outlets are in each room. I mean, there's really nothing you can do about however many there are there, but you just want to be mindful of this. Also, before you sign that lease, you want to make sure you know this area. Whether you drive, whether you take the bus, you need to be aware of this area. You need to be aware if it's the ghetto, if there's drug dealers, if there's gang activity, if it's a number street. I live in Newark, New Jersey, and the rule of Newark, New Jersey, or any surrounding areas, is every number street is ghetto. Every number street is ghetto. Ghetto, 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 ghetto. So if you're thinking about signing that lease on a number street and you don't know about the area, it's ghetto. I can tell you that right now for a fact it's ghetto. You will be shot at. You will know someone who gets shot in that area because it's ghetto. But don't let me be the voice of reason. But yeah, if you just need to know the area. Far from it being ghetto, you need to know about the bus stops. In case you drive, maybe something might happen to your car one day. You still need to know about the bus stops. You need to know about the walking distance of the police station, the hospital, schools, if you have children, the drugstore. You need to know about these things. So make sure you know. There's plenty of websites out there that can tell you the crime rate in that area. It could tell you all that jazzy stuff. Google Maps will definitely be your best friend because it'll tell you where everything is. So you won't be stuck there. Google knows it all. But that's all I got on my laptop, so that's all I could think of. If I think of something else, like I said, I'll definitely let y'all know what else you should be asking or looking out for. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, I am more than happy to help you guys in any way I can. You know I am your home girl, and if you want to be homies with me, you will subscribe to my channel, hit that boop so I can continue to make amazing content for you. It's been a pleasure making this video as always. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
I don't know if y'all noticed this, but in all my videos, I'm like looking here instead of right here at the camera because I just can't take my eyes off myself. I'm so cute. Y'all cute too. I mean, y'all are right, I guess. It's about me right now, okay? It's about me helping you.